37,000 feet above Missouri, and Daniel Roberts had run out of options. His 8-month-old daughter Lily was screaming, not the fussy kind of cry you could bounce away, but the raw, guttural wail that makes grown men question every choice they've ever made. Sweat pooled at his collar. Every passenger between rows 12 and 19 had stopped pretending to be polite. A guy in a Redskins hoodie muttered, "Control your kid, man." Daniel squeezed his eyes shut. "I'm so sorry, baby girl. Daddy doesn't know what you need." That's when the woman stood. She didn't ask permission. Just rose from across the aisle and reached out her arms. The cabin went dead silent. And what this stranger did next would change both their lives forever. Flight 721 from Washington Dulles to San Diego was supposed to be simple. Daniel had planned everything: color-coded feeding schedule, diaper bag packed with military precision, white noise app downloaded. 8 months of solo parenting had taught him that preparation was survival. But Lily had other plans. The crying got worse over Kentucky. Bottle, rejected. Pacifier, spit across the aisle. That lullaby Laura used to sing, he couldn't finish humming it. He never could. 8 months ago, his wife Laura was supposed to be here. But Laura had only held Lily once. 37 seconds in the delivery room before the hemorrhaging started. Before a nurse said the words that ended his world, we did everything we could. Now here he was. Alone with a screaming baby and strangers who thought he was failing. The flight attendant closed in. That's when the woman stood. Blonde ponytail. Gray wrap sweater. Eyes rimmed red. Next to her, a little boy slept against the window with a stuffed giraffe. "May I?" she asked quietly. Daniel hesitated. Then she lifted Lily from his arms and began to hum, low, soft, somewhere between a lullaby and a prayer. And then, impossibly, Lily stopped crying. All at once. One last breath, and Lily nestled into the woman's neck. Her tiny fingers curled around blonde hair and held on. The woman opened her eyes. She just needed to be held by someone who wasn't afraid. She settled into the middle seat. "I'm Emily. Emily Thompson." Daniel Roberts. "I'm not some baby whisperer," Emily said. "I just remember what it feels like. Being so tired you can't see straight. Feeling like everyone's watching you fail." She paused. "I spent the first year of my son's life convinced I was the worst mother in the world. Turns out I was just the only one trying." "His father?" Daniel asked. "Left when Noah was 6 months old. My mom was the only one who helped." Her voice cracked. "She died last week. Heart attack. This flight, we're coming home from her funeral at Arlington." Daniel felt something shift. "My wife died giving birth to Lily. She never really got to hold her." Emily's eyes filled with recognition. "So we're both doing this alone." "Yeah," Daniel whispered. "We are. Maybe you've been there, drowning while everyone watches, wondering if you're strong enough. This story is for you. Because sometimes God puts people in our path exactly when we need them most. Subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments." They sat watching the sky lighten. Lily slept on Emily's chest. Noah mumbled about rockets in his dreams. "She kept looking at you," Emily said. "Even when crying. Making sure you were still there. She's not crying because you're doing it wrong, Daniel. She's crying because she knows how hard you're trying." Daniel's eyes burned. "My wife said something at the end. Find someone who loves her like you love me." I thought she meant finding help. But now you think what? I don't know anymore. The pilot announced their descent. Noah woke up. "Mommy, there's a baby. This is Lily, and this is her daddy, Daniel." Noah studied Daniel seriously. "Why does he look sad?" "He's just tired, baby. Like us. My grandma went to heaven. Mommy says she's watching from the clouds." "Is Lily's mommy in heaven too?" Emily answered for Daniel. "Yes, honey. And I bet she and Grandma are friends up there, making sure everyone's okay." "Cool. Can I show Lily my giraffe?" The plane touched down. Emily transferred Lily back to Daniel. "Thank you," he whispered. "You don't thank me. You just keep showing up for her. Even when it's hard. That's what my mom taught me." Her voice cracked. The good ones stay. Emily reached into her bag and scribbled on a napkin. She tucked it into Lily's diaper bag. Just in case. If you ever need to talk to someone who gets it. She lifted Noah and disappeared into the crowd. Daniel pulled out the napkin. Capital Brews and Books, DuPont Circle, DC, weekday mornings, Emily. No phone number. Just an invitation without pressure. Daniel folded it carefully and slipped it into his wallet, next to Laura's hospital bracelet. That napkin would live in his wallet for 6 months. 6 months of 3 a.m. stares. 6 months of wondering. 6 months of Lily humming a melody she shouldn't remember, until the morning everything changed. Back in Washington, Daniel fell into rhythm. Wake at 5:30. Bottle prep. Daycare drop-off. Insurance office. Pickup. Dinner. Bath. Survive. The napkin lived behind his driver's license. Some days he'd trace Emily's handwriting. Other days he'd tell himself to throw it away. He never did. Lily was changing fast. Crawling. Pulling up on furniture. Pointing at Laura's photos saying Mama. 3 months after the flight, Daniel drove past Capital Brews. He saw a blonde woman behind the counter. His heart lurched, but it wasn't Emily. Wrong face. He kept driving. 4 months later, Lily developed a habit that gutted him. Right before sleep, she'd hum. The same hymn Emily sang on the plane. Daniel had never taught her that song. But Lily hummed it like muscle memory. On those nights, he'd pull out the napkin and stare. Weekday mornings. What if Emily wasn't there? What if she didn't remember? What if she regretted the napkin? So he didn't go. 5 months later, Sharon visited for Thanksgiving. Over turkey, she said, "You're doing a good job. Laura would be proud." I don't know about that. You're allowed to be happy again, Daniel. That night, surrounded by photos of Laura, Daniel pulled out the napkin. Tomorrow was Friday. A weekday. He folded it, put it back, and went to bed. When morning came, he followed the same routine. The napkin stayed in his wallet. Here's what nobody tells you about grief. It's easier to stay stuck than risk feeling something new. Maybe you've been there too. Holding on, too scared to reach out. You tell yourself tomorrow. But sometimes the people who could change everything are waiting on the other side of your fear. And time doesn't wait. 3 weeks later, on Lily's first birthday, she did something that shattered Daniel's last excuse. And this time, he couldn't ignore it. Emily's alarm didn't need to go off. She'd been awake since 3:47, listening to Noah breathe. Sleep had become a stranger since her mother died. By 5:30, she was making coffee. By 6 o'clock, packing Noah's lunch. By 6:30, waking him up. 5 more minutes, Noah groaned. You said that yesterday. Let's go. They walked to preschool, Noah talking non-stop about spaceships and whether Grandma could see the moon from heaven. Emily dropped him off and walked to Capital Brews, where she worked opening shift, 8 to 1, enough to cover rent while finishing her nursing degree online. Jenna was already inside. You look like hell. Good morning to you too. Around 10 a.m., Jenna asked, You ever gonna tell me about Airplane Guy? There's nothing to tell. You gave him our address. 6 months ago. He's not coming. But Emily looked for him every day. Every door chime. Every sandy-haired man. Every baby's cry. She'd replay that flight, Daniel shaking hands, his eyes when she said he wasn't failing, the way he said thank you like she'd saved his life. 6 months. No Daniel. No Lily. Noah asked sometimes. When's the plane baby visiting? I don't know, sweetheart. Late at night, Emily wondered if Daniel carried her napkin like she carried the memory of him. One December evening, Noah was drawing rockets when he asked, Mommy, do you think Grandma sent us the plane baby? Like a present from heaven. Emily's eyes burned. She crouched beside him. Yeah, baby. I think maybe she did. Noah hugged her and went back to his drawing. Emily stood, wiped her eyes. Noah's words burrowed into the parts of her heart that still believed in signs and second chances. She just didn't know if Daniel believed it too. What Emily didn't know was that 3 weeks later, Daniel would finally stop running. And when he walked through that door, Everything would either shatter or become real. December 14th. Lily's first birthday. 1 year since Laura died, bringing her into the world. 1 year of learning to be a father alone. Daniel should have planned a party. But it was just him and Lily. Again. Lily was already awake in her crib, bouncing. Dada. He dressed her in a daisy print dress Sharon mailed. Yellow with white flowers. Perfect for today. After breakfast, Daniel's phone buzzed. His boss, "Can you take the Morrison call at 10? Daniel texted back, "It's my daughter's birthday. Can someone else cover? Just this once. 30 minutes tops." Daniel sighed. Fine. He looked at Lily, now standing at the coffee table. She was holding something. The napkin. His wallet was on the table. Lily clutched the worn napkin, waving it like a flag. Lily, no, give Daddy that. But Lily just smiled, took 2 stumbling steps toward the door, and pointed. Mama. Then, clear as morning, Mama. Not to a photo. To the napkin. To Emily's address. Daniel's throat closed. He crouched down. Lily toddled over and pressed the napkin against his chest. Mama, she said again. Like permission. Daniel looked at the clock. 8:47 a.m. weekday morning. He thought about Laura's last words. Find someone who loves her like you love me. He thought about Emily's voice. She just needed to be held by someone who wasn't afraid. Daniel stood, scooped Lily up, grabbed his keys. Okay, baby. Okay. He didn't change clothes. Didn't fix his hair. Just buckled Lily in and drove toward DuPont Circle. The whole drive, Lily hummed at him. He found Capital Brews. White string lights. Gingerbread lattes. A blonde woman behind the counter. Daniel stopped on the sidewalk. His heart hammered. Lily pointed at the window. Mama. The woman turned. Emily. Their eyes met through the glass. And in that split second, everything they'd both been carrying for 6 months hung in the air like a prayer. The bell chimed. Emily froze mid-pour. Daniel stood in the doorway holding Lily in a yellow dress. Noah shouted from his table, Mom. It's the airplane people. The cafe went quiet. Daniel stepped inside. Lily reached for Emily. Mama. The word echoed. Emily's eyes flooded. She walked over and gathered Lily against her chest. The baby's fingers curled into her hair. Lily hummed at him, and Emily's tears spilled. She remembers, Daniel said. I didn't teach her. But she hums it every night. You came. I should have come sooner. You came when you were ready. Noah appeared beside them. Mommy, is that her? The plane baby. Yeah, sweetheart. This is Lily. Emily looked at Daniel. Do you want coffee? Yeah, please. They sat at the corner table. Emily made lattes while Jenna whispered, That's him. That's him. Emily brought the drinks over. They sat, Lily between them, Noah explaining space travel rules. I drove past here 3 months ago, Daniel said quietly. Saw you through the window. Kept going. Why? I was scared. Scared you'd regret the napkin. Scared I'd ruin your happiness by showing up with my grief. Emily took his hand. I thought about you every day. Every door that opened, I hoped it was you. I wondered if I crossed a line or if it was. It wasn't a line. It was a lifeline. Emily's tears came again. My mom said, good people stay even when it's hard. And I kept thinking, what if he doesn't come? You didn't wait for nothing. I'm here. I'm sorry it took so long, but I'm here. Noah tugged Emily's sleeve. Can Lily have cocoa? Emily laughed through tears. She's too little, baby. Daniel watched this woman and her son who had no reason to care, who showed up anyway. He felt something shift. Not the absence of grief, but the presence of hope. You know what the saddest part almost was? Daniel almost didn't come. 6 months of having what he needed written on paper, and fear almost won. How many of us hold the answer but never act because we're terrified? Emily stayed. She waited. She believed. Maybe that's your reminder today, that the people meant to find you will. But only if you let them. Over muffins and confessions, they'd learn that some connections aren't built in a moment. They're built in the choice to keep showing up. And what Daniel said next would change everything. Jenna brought muffins. On the house. Lily reached for Noah's muffin. Noah broke off a piece. You have to share. That's the rule. She's never good at sharing, Daniel said. She's one. You've got time. Do I? Sometimes it feels like I'm losing time. Like she's growing and I'm just surviving. Emily knew that feeling. I used to keep a list. Every milestone, first word, first step. Not for Noah. For me. Because I was terrified I'd forget what doing this alone felt like. Do you still keep it? No. My mom said, you're so busy documenting survival you're forgetting to live. She was right. Your mom sounds incredible. She was. Emily's voice cracked. This was her favorite table. I keep thinking she'll walk through that door. Daniel covered her hand. Laura died 37 seconds after holding Lily. I keep replaying it, wondering if she knew. If she was scared. I never got to say goodbye either. Emily laced her fingers through his. Two broken people holding on while their kids shared muffins. I don't know how to do this, Daniel admitted. How to date again. How to let someone in when I'm terrified they'll leave. You don't have to know. You just show up. That's what my mom taught me. Good people stay. Even when it's hard. What if I mess this up? What if you don't? The question hung between them. Daniel took a breath. I want to try. Emily smiled. One coffee at a time? Yeah. One coffee at a time. They stayed 2 hours. Talked about sleepless nights and terrible advice and songs that made them cry. About Laura. About Emily's mom. About holes that would never fully close. And somewhere in the mess of muffin crumbs and spilled cocoa, Daniel felt something he hadn't felt in a year. Not happiness. Not yet. But the possibility of it. When closing time came, Daniel would ask a question that terrified him. And Emily's answer would prove some risks are worth taking. At 1:15, Jenna flipped the sign to closed. Emily grabbed Noah's backpack and walked outside with Daniel. Lily reached for Emily. Daniel handed her over, and Lily settled like she belonged there. Noah grabbed Daniel's hand, chattering about Pluto not being a planet. They walked. Past the bookstore. Past the deli where Emily's mom bought lottery tickets. Past the park where cherry blossoms would bloom. Tell me something happy, Daniel said. Emily smiled. Noah wants to be the astronaut who finds aliens and teaches them soccer. Daniel laughed, a real laugh. Lily's gonna be a musician. She hums constantly. This feels normal, Daniel said quietly. Is that weird? No. It feels normal to me too. Another block. Then, I need to tell you something. Okay. I'm not good at this. Laura was the only person I ever loved. I don't know how to be someone's person again. Emily stopped. Noah chased leaves ahead. Lily slept. You don't have to be anyone's person right now. You just have to be here. Tomorrow, you be here again. That's it. No pressure. What if I'm not ready? Then we wait. What if I'm never ready? Then we figure it out together. Daniel felt something break open. I want to walk you home. Okay. They continued. Noah rejoined them with moon rocks. Emily's apartment appeared, a brick walk-up with window boxes. Emily transferred Lily back. Thank you. For today. For 6 months ago. For not giving up. I didn't do anything. You did everything. Tomorrow morning? Tomorrow morning. Same table. Emily smiled and disappeared inside. Daniel pulled out his phone. Thank you for waiting. 3 dots. Thank you for finding your way back. Daniel kissed Lily's head and walked to his car. The December air was cold, but he didn't feel it. That night, Daniel would make a decision that terrified him. And the next morning, Emily would realize some prayers get answered in the quietest ways. 1 week later, Daniel parked in the same spot. Lily babbled, excited. Inside, Emily laughed with Jenna. Noah colored at their table. The door chimed. Lily's here. Emily turned, smiling. She took Lily, kissed her forehead. Good morning, sweet girl. Lily hummed that hymn. Emily hummed back. They sat. Small touches. Shared glances. Conversations that stretched past closing. I did something, Daniel said. He pulled out a folded paper. I called a realtor. Asked about apartments in DuPont Circle. Emily's eyes widened. Daniel. My lease is up in February. I'm tired of living in a museum. Emily squeezed his hand. That's a big step. I'm sure. Noah held up his drawing. When you move here, Lily can come to my school. Later, they took the kids to Stanton Park. Lily squealed on the swings. Noah narrated space adventures. He's happy, Emily said quietly. So am I. Daniel stopped the swing. Emily, I'm not good at this. I'm going to mess up. I'm terrified you'll realize you signed up for too much. Emily stepped closer. You know what my mom said. The good ones stay. Not the perfect ones. The good ones. The ones who show up even when it's hard. She touched his face. You're one of the good ones. And I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying too. I know. Behind them, a jet roared overhead. Emily watched it disappear. Think there's a single dad on that plane having the worst day? Maybe. Think someone will help him? Daniel pulled her closer. Yeah. I think someone will. They watched the contrail fade. Because they'd learned that the hardest flights can land softly when strangers choose courage. That grief makes room for something new. That family isn't always blood. Sometimes it's who shows up. Who stays. Who hums your baby to sleep and doesn't let go. Same time tomorrow? Emily asked. Daniel smiled. Same time tomorrow. This story started with a stranger refusing to let someone drown. And maybe that's what you needed to hear today. That the hardest part isn't the grief, it's believing you deserve to be seen in the middle of it. If this story touched you, don't just walk away. Share it with someone who needs it. Because maybe they're sitting in row 14 right now, waiting for permission to hope. And maybe you're the one who gives it to them. 6 months later, Daniel would carry a velvet box to Capitol Brews. And when Lily handed it to him at exactly the right moment, Noah would shout, I knew it. But that's a story for another day. For now, it's enough to know that some connections aren't accidents. That some flights land exactly where they're supposed to. And that sometimes, the person who saves you is the one who needed saving too.